5 years without play, 5 years of cruelty, 5 years a slave. 11-year-old Nashat is now free from the Islamic State group's torment. They would buy us children, no matter what the age, and make us servants, and buy women of any age and make them wives. They treated their children nicely, like a piece of gold, but they kicked us out at night to sleep in the garden or the sheepfold. I don't know why they would buy us if they didn't want to look after us. IS brought ruin to his town of Sinjar in Iraq. Not far from here, they murdered the men. And then they took the women and children, sold into a life of servitude. Most thought they'd never see Sinjar again. Many did not. The terror that IS brought here to the Yazidi people was genocide, says the United Nations. For his last years in Syria, forced to convert to Islam, he was alone with monsters. His father had escaped, but his mother, sister and brothers were sold to IS fighters and their families. Nashat's family was traded half a dozen times. 4 years ago, Nashat's mother's freedom was bought. For Fauzia, here in the pink, it was a bittersweet moment. Nashat and his sister Jolene were still trapped in Syria with IS. Granted asylum in Germany, she had no peace while her children were missing. Our kids were crying. Each hour IS would come and take the young women and the children from their mothers. We were forced to live in disgrace and humiliation. They treated us like sheep. They told me, "A man has bought you." I said, "I'd rather be killed than go with that man." Then, in March this year, Nashat's sister, 9-year-old Jolene, was found. Safely in Iraq, she tries to forget about the last 5 years of work, cruelty and forced prayer. She speaks rarely now. But this is all in the past. Now, Nashat and Jolene wait at the airport in Iraq. Their mum is flying in from Germany. So much has stood in the way of this embrace. Under the same roof for the first time in years, the family can finally sleep without fear. We all know the Islamic State group's crimes on the battlefield, but this is where it's really felt. They tried to destroy this family. They tried to wipe out the entire Yazidi people, but they didn't. They failed. The Islamic State group's on the run now, but the pain and the suffering that they've caused has been amplified for tens of thousands of families here in Iraq and in Syria too. And that's going to take generations to recover from. But countless other Yazidi families will never be reunited. The Yazidis were a people that their country and the West failed to protect. Despite this, Nashat's family endured, and that in itself is another victory against the Islamic State group. Quentin Sommerville, BBC News, Northern Iraq.